Hey guys, it's Keeley, and today I'm going to be talking about the TV shows and the movies I watched this month. Now, what I've been doing is just tacking that on to the back of my wrap-ups for each month, but I decided to make a whole different video about it because I do watch a lot of TV and watch a lot of movies, and I would just think that it'd be a fun little new segment to go further in depth with other things that I love, like TV and movies. So let's get on into it. The first movie I watched this month I mentioned in other wrap-ups because I cannot stop watching it, and that is Lion, and I will put the movie poster here. It is so good. One of my favorite movies I have ever watched, obviously, because I can't stop watching it. But it follows this little boy named Saru, and he is 5 years old. This is based on a true story. He's 5 years old when he decides to go on a work week with his older brother, and when they get there, and it's in the middle of the night, and Saru's 5 years old, so he is like, time for bed, like, don't wake me up. So his older brother's like, okay, you stay right here, I'm gonna go find out about work and then come back and get you. But Saru wakes up in the middle of his little nap and gets back on a train. He's 5, remember this, so he doesn't know like where his brother is, what's going on, so he gets back on a train and ends up traveling for days and like ends up somewhere that's thousands of miles away from his home. He's 5 years old. No one pays any attention to little kids on the street in India because it's a common thing that happens. And he speaks a different language than the people in this new town speak, so they can't understand him, so he is homeless for an entire year. Like, a 5-year-old being homeless, I cannot believe he survived even a week like that. And there's also other struggles and tribulations that go on in the movie. I don't want to go too deep into it because I don't want to just like act out the entire movie for you right here, but as you can imagine, there's child poverty, child slavery, like that type of thing, and each time he manages to get away, and he even says that he's one of the lucky ones because he ended up getting away from like all of that stuff. One day he ends up getting adopted by this couple in Australia, and so he grows up with them, and I think it's like 20 years later he decides to start looking for his family again. And so, it's just so good and so emotional, and I just love it so much. And the little boy who plays Saru when he's younger, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, but Sunny Power, I love him. He is the cutest little thing, and he is such a good actor. Like, he is so young, one of the best child actors I've ever seen. And then Dev Patel, love of my life, Dev Patel plays older Saru, and he's just a beautiful man, so talented. I just love him so much. Like, look at this picture of them together at the Oscars when Dev saw Sunny, and it was just the cutest thing, and I love it so much, and I cannot recommend this movie enough. Now, when I first started watching it, the first half is completely in Hindu, I think that's the language. It's completely in a different language, and so I was like, I hate subtitles, so I was kind of turned off, and I was like, I don't know if I want to watch this, but I'm just gonna keep watching for Dev Patel, and I got sucked in like right away. So good. So if you're not a fan of subtitles like me, don't let that throw you off. And the second movie I watched this month, I actually watched it twice, and that is Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, and this one was so good. I honestly cannot tell you which one's my favorite between the first one and the second one, because Baby Groot is everything. He is everything, and I just love him so much. I love Chris Pratt. Like, I love this cast so much. I love all of the 80s references, the soundtrack, the jokes. Like, it is so funny. And the makeup in this movie, like, I will be surprised if it's not nominated for an Oscar because the makeup is crazy. But definitely, if you haven't seen the first one, go watch it and then go watch the second one. I don't think I really have to explain this. It's just like an intergalactic, amazing, these anti-heroes going to save the galaxy. Like, what more do you need? It's a Marvel, I mean. So I was trying for a while to figure out how I wanted to talk about my TV shows that I watch, because I watch a lot of TV shows, like a lot, like it's insane. So I think the way I'm gonna do it now is just talk about the ones that I finished in the month instead of the ones that I started, because I start and finish a lot. So instead of talking about the ones that I am like currently watching or the ones that I just started, I'm going to talk about the ones that I finished in each month. So let's do that, because there are 3 to talk about. The first TV show that I finished in the month of May was Psych, and now this is a rewatch for me. I've watched this series all the way through probably like 3 times now. It's like a family favorite for me. I absolutely love it. If you love detective shows like Sherlock and things like that, go watch it. It is so funny and it reminds me so much of Sherlock. I just love it so much, and it also has a ton of 80s references in it. It has a ton of cameos by famous like 80s actors. So good, and the dynamic between Sean and Gus is so funny. But basically it follows Sean Spencer, who is really good at noticing little details and everything, and so one day he just wants to play detective. So he tells everyone that he's actually a psychic and that's how he's able to solve all these crimes, but really he's just a really talented detective. And excuse me, but it is just so good and so funny, and I highly recommend it. The next show that I finished this month was Once Upon a Time, and this finale was so good. I know that they're thinking about doing like a spin-off show with, I don't know how they're doing it, because some of the main cast is leaving and then some are saying they're staying. Honestly, I think that they should just end it and leave it as is, because the finale was really good and wrapped up nicely, and I loved it so much. Like, I cried. It was really beautiful, and I just don't want them to continue, because what's the point if some of the main characters aren't going to be there and then some of them will? Like, how are they going to handle it? So I think it was wrapped up nicely and they should just end it. But if you haven't watched Once Upon a Time, go do it. It is on Netflix, and it's just fairy tales in our day and age, and it's great and I love it. And the last show that I finished in the month of May was Dancing with the Stars. This is season like 20 whatever. This has been going on for like ever, and I am obsessed with the show. It makes me so incredibly happy. Like, every time I hear the intro music, I just start tearing up because I am so happy, and I am so happy with who won. I'm not gonna spoil it just in case like you haven't watched it yet or you want to see it, but if you want to go know who won, like, go Google it. I'm so happy with who won. That's who I wanted to win, and I am just so excited. I love this show so much, and the good thing about it is there's not really a long hiatus between each season, which is amazing. And it's just one of those shows where going into it you're like, okay, who even is that celebrity? And then you fall in love with them even though you had never heard about them 2 months prior, and it's so good and I absolutely love it. So that is it for the TV shows and movies that I watched this month. I watched some really great ones, and I am excited to see what all I watch in the month of June. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye!